Okay, so hello everybody, and yeah, I'm very pleased to be here. It would be better if I was in Mexico, but hey, that's the world we are in nowadays. So I'm going to start my presentation. I'm going to talk about my artistic practice. Okay. So my work is a mixture of art, robotics, and artificial intelligence. I'm going to show first a video that is a good summary of my artistic practice. Oh, sorry. I'm getting used to that. Sorry about that. Oh. Sorry about that. That's an old studio. My studio is bigger now and less messy. So that's a good summary of my artistic practice. So I build and I exhibit and I present performances with robots. And those robots have a particularity is that they make drawings. In a past life or before doing that, I was a painter. I was a painter for 10 to 13 years. And after 13 years as a painter, I got stuck. I didn't know what to do. And then I knew that I was interested in computing. I knew that I could program. So I started to explore the use of robots in my artistic practice, and especially for drawing. There is something magical about drawing, about making marks on a surface. You see the stone in front of you on the screen, there are those engraved marks, those traces. And those traces were made 70,000 years ago. And even if it's that old, you can still imagine the person who made them. You know that it's an intelligent person. And I find that amazing with drawing. There is this direct contact with the person who has made the marks. So using robots to do that is interesting because a drawing is a memory of the action of the artist. So the robots I develop, or the installation, my best seller in a certain way is a robot that makes portraits, or installation of robots that make portraits. And they do those kind of drawings. I try to make the robot do drawing that I would have liked to do by hand. So all those are people from all over the world. So people, I'll show you a video later of the process. So the research was part of a PhD, doctorate. So I started to do that, and so the first time I exhibited a robot, I I I didn't know how people would react to it. For me, it was only about the drawing. But when I exhibited the first robot, something magical happened. A lot of people started to look at it, and I understood that there was also something to explore about the theatricality of the robot. So now I exhibit the robot. It's a bit like a puppet show in a certain way. It's fascinating and amazing when you see a puppet. Same thing with robots, except that you think that they are autonomous. So it creates more surprises, more amazement for the audience. So I've done a series of work, 7 series of installations. I'm going to show them to you now. So there is the robot doing portraits. It's always the same configuration where there's one robot and they're always on old school desks like that. And there's always the drawings displayed around the installation. It's always like that. So that's me sitting for my robot. It's the first time I exhibited 5 robots during one person. I'm going to show you another video. So that was an exhibition in front of Tate Modern in London, if you know. So there you can see that I really work on the theatricality of the installation. So I place the paper. So there's this kind of ceremonial. So the person takes an appointment at a precise time, come and sit to be drawn by those robots. And so I have to pin the paper on the table, and then I have to wake the robots up. So that's the way of waking the robots. So those are old version because I think this video is 7 years old or something like that. But it's still quite similar. I mean, the robots are better, but yeah, I don't use that anymore to wake the robots up because it hurts my finger after some time. It's easier to just turn, yeah. So you see, you have the cameras looking at the sitter, at the woman sitting, and then they start to draw, and they look at the paper, and they look at the person. So at the time, the process, the portrait session used to take 40 minutes, but now I've reduced the time to 20 minutes because people are more and more impatient, so things take more, have to be shorter. And so when the person is drawn, they just feel observed by the robot, but they can't see the drawings. So when they get up, it's a surprise for them what they've been doing. So now you saw the installation, because it's a performance. It's also a theatrical performance, because normally during the exhibition there is an audience watching the process. So I'm just going to show you quickly the reactions of the audience. Um, oh, oh, I'm going to show you that. Oh, that's annoying. Oh. So you can see in a real performance. So those installations are shown in museums around the world, and it is really the installation I show the most. So there are different versions. There's a version with one robot, a version with 3 robots, and there's really the museum version with 5 robots. So now you can see the reaction of the audience, and it's so I'm not always there when the robots are working, because sometimes I leave them for 3 months, 6 months. But when I see the audience, all over the world, you have the same reactions. Even the facial expressions are the same from one place to another when the audience is watching the robot. There are those questions on the face and things, and these laughs, and it's. I'm very lucky because it's most people take something out of the installation. There's nothing at first. There's nothing to understand. Robots making drawings from life. After you can think of other things, but at the basic level, it's very easy to understand. You just watch, and that's it. So I'm just going to show some various configuration of the installation. So that was the first exhibition where there was multiple robots showing one person. So I got different prizes for this installation. It has really been shown around the world. At the moment, there's one version stuck in Japan because it was on lockdown, so they couldn't send it back to me. So that's in Brussels, actually, a few years ago. That's in Montreal, another thing. So when there are no members of the audience to be drawn, what I can do is I put a drawing on the chair, and the robot draws the drawing. That's in Korea. So another installation I showed at the Centre Pompidou in Paris is this one where people would sit side by side and be drawn. So that was an exhibition in Poland also. So I'm going to show you. So I've done this series of vanitas. So it's a very it's a common subject in painting, the vanitas, where you always have a skull and some elements that represent life, or the specificities of human life, the negative side, or the vanity in a certain way. So I'm going to show you. So it does this kind of mad drawings, very primitive, this version. And this one I started to put, you see, I started to put stuffed animals in those still lifes. It does again those very primitive, basic drawings. So that's another version, because I always have multiple versions of the same installations. So that was another one at the Grand Palais in Paris. I does those kind of drawings where I started to use color, still monochromatic, but with color. But I really like rough drawings and that look primitive or symbolic in this instance. So here I'm going to show you. So it's not another still life because each time I use different objects. So you can see how I work on the still life here. Where that was for an exhibition in Paris in a small gallery. I actually have a lot of fun when I do that. You can see. And you work on the still life until the object creates a composition and is kind of paralyzed and symbolized. I listened to Miles Davis during this video. I didn't pay the right, so maybe it's okay, it's quite short. Oh, that's not good. Oh. I don't know how to get rid of that. Sorry. That's annoying. So that's a series. This one, it's a robot that draws, that counts, and the other one erases. You see? Okay. Oh yeah, I want to show you this one. So this one is my most monumental work. There was 21 robots, and it's based on a classroom. Just going to, so that's the teacher, and I'm going to show you the video. I like showing videos, so like that I can speak less. Oh. So this one got an honorary mention, a prize at Ars Electronica. But now I've shown it again with a smaller version. It's a nightmare to have 20 robots, actually. So in a certain way, they learn to pass time, they learn to comply and to follow rules. You see. But it is totally theatrical. So there's the robots, it's totally orchestrated and scripted. So it's really about conformism and boredom and finding a way to pass time. So here the kind of rebel against conformity. They get pretty mad. It makes an amazing sound when they're all doing that. But then they get back in line and get back into society and comply with the rules. So along with this installation, there was a series of drawings, of large drawings like that in color, produced by one of my systems, and those drawings are based on textbook for mathematics for primary school children from the first class in a primary school, and that came from a book I had as a child. And at the time, they were teaching mathematics with a set theory, which now seems very weird, but it makes visually some very interesting things. And it's actually a very visual way to learn mathematics. Oh. So it's a series. Nowadays, I like to make a series of drawing in link with the installations. So that's another exhibition there was in London, and there I wanted to do some very large drawings. So I built those mobile robots, like that, and they do those drawings in response to the presence of visitors. See? So here you can see, and in the foreground you can see the robot with 6 arms, where you can see that it does those drawings, and those drawings are the response again to visitors. You can see. So it's an accumulation of the visitors during the day. Robots are a lot of fun. You can really do funny things with them. Especially if they have lots of arms, you synchronize them. It's good pleasure. No, I'm not sure. And so those are the drawings produced by this installation. So I was surprised by the variety of drawings produced. So it depends if there are not many visitors during the day, the drawings are quite clear and quite simple. And if you have a lot of visitors, then they become more complex. But I do like drawings that are rough. I've already said that before, but it is a bit primitive and they look spontaneous, even if they're not, because they're made by a machine. But I like to give this impression of spontaneity. So the last installation of the series is contained in those boxes. So most of the time when I exhibit around the world, the installations that make portraits, I keep all the drawings, well, except in Mexico where I gave some of them. But normally I keep all the drawings, or when it's in private galleries, I sell them. So now I've got more than 36,000 drawings from people from all over the world. And so I have to make an artwork with that. So I am working on that, but obviously with COVID-19 and all that, it's all delayed. So now I have to do something with all these portraits from all over the world, but it is in progress. Now I'm going to show you those kind of things. Machine learning, artificial intelligence is actually very easy to play with. So if you like, there's a lot of things online. Google has produced amazing tools to do anything. So yeah, it's a great way to experiment and have fun, and you can do that in your home. You don't need a big computer or anything, because there are some good tools where you can do all the computing online, so you don't need that. So I think I'm going to see if there are some questions now from the audience. Let's see. Let's go back to here. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Patrick. We actually run out of time, but most of the comments were mentioning how impressive it is using robots to do some art. So, I mean, thank you very much for your participation, Patrick. I don't know if you would like to say something like social media or where they can find you.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Patrick Tresset, so I'm on Instagram, on Facebook, and Twitter. It's always Patrick Tresset. It's not a very common name, so there's